All right, tonight, guys, we're going to talk about this Citizen diver. This is the nb1031-53l. This is part of their, I believe they call it the signature collection, if you read it on the case back there. And this thing is a beautiful watch. Now, I'm going to talk about this one specifically, but I also want to brush on my thoughts on Citizen when it comes to the dive style watches anyway. But this thing, first of all, big thanks to Bruce Williams for sending this over. This is his personal watch, so I always appreciate taking a look at some of the finds that he acquires. Overall, the fit and finish on this thing is spectacular. This is a high level one, so it has a sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating. You can see this one's got some scratching and everything around the bezel. So it's been worn for sure, but you have that easy to read orange minute hand that is always pleasant to look at. You have huge applied indices that are faceted in many different spots, so you can get tons of light play. They're super easy to read. It's also a sandwich dial, so if you look around the perimeter there, I noticed that Bruce pointed out, and then it was really nice to see in person as well, but the minute track just inside the indices there, you can see, your reddish orange color down to the 15 mark, and then it transitions into white. And that also gives it a really nice relief around the date window there with that sandwich dial, so it gives it some nice play to it. So really easy to read and visible watch for sure. The bezel, also very easy to read, very easy to operate. Standard 60-click bezel like most Citizens. This one has some play in it, but it's not going to go anywhere. It's totally fine, so everything lines up really good. The crown operation is a little weird. I'm not used to the protected crown like this. I have to be honest with you guys, I'm not a big fan of it, but I understand the reasoning on it. It just adds an extreme level of impact resistance as far as damaging the crown. So let's talk about size real quick before I get too carried away with some other things here. Let's start with some of the first measurements I took. I actually measured just the bezel. The bezel across is 45.25 millimeter. The total width of the watch, including this protected crown guard here, is 52 millimeter, so it's pretty wide. But if I measure just the watch part, the best I could measure, I get about 45 millimeter, which is not insane. It just, with this added girth here, it just, makes it super wide. So lug to lug, you're looking at 50.5 millimeter, no drill on the lugs there, which is fine because I'm pretty sure this is going to live on this bracelet, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Well, I'll tell you right now. The lug width, as far as I can tell, is 23 millimeters. So it's going to be a little weird to get some different straps for it, but honestly, this bracelet is excellent. I mean, there's hardly any play in it. You have screw links, and it's, the way they did the finishing on it with the polish and the brushing and then that center stripe down there is a very nice looking bracelet. Easy to use clasp, and this tapers down to a 20 millimeter. So, and it's very nice and discreet and smooth in its transitions, and it's all milled out. So very easy to operate. No dive extension. The thickness of the watch is 14.5 millimeters. So it's also on the thicker side. Overall, it is a larger watch, but I think when you're looking for some wrist presence, this thing will be hard to beat. This is on my 7.25 inch wrist. Sized a little bit big for me, so it will rotate all the way around on me, but you can see it wears fine. There's my full rotation. So you can see it kind of has the same thing that, Seiko and many other watches do, where they make them just fit really nice. So you're not going to have any problems with wearability on this guy if you have, a plus 7 inch wrist. So let's take a look at this movement. This has the automatic movement. This is the caliber 9012. You can see there it's a 24 joule movement. It has a 42-hour power reserve, and this is slightly decorated on this guy too. So that's always nice to see when you have a display case back. So very, very nicely done. Solid end links, of course, and you will have the full lay flat back here, even though that center link doesn't articulate. But the way they positioned it, it fits really nice. So price-wise, if you look on Citizen's website, the MSRP on this is just under $1,200. I think you can buy it directly from Citizen for $956 if I'm reading it right. If you go over to Amazon Prime, you're looking at $726. But if you look on the used market, you're definitely going to pay more than $500. So, you know, they bottom out, I think, around $550 to $580. So you have a price structure there of anywhere in between, you know, that $500 mark up to, you know, brand new on Amazon is going to be like $726, or if you're going to buy it direct from a Citizen or Citizen dealer, you're going to be looking at $950. So now let's talk about real quick. I will give you guys a loom shot at the end. It'll be spectacular because Citizen actually does really good loom as well. But I want to talk about my thoughts on Citizen divers as a whole, because I've been lusting after a ton of different quartz Citizen divers, and they're a little bit older, they're a little bit harder to find in really great condition, but I know there's a cult following for them, and I have to be honest with you guys on this. I find myself looking at those older Citizen divers way more than I do the Seikos. I think they're just way more interesting. They did way more unique things, and I know there's some really cool, crazy Seikos out there too. And I say, you know, I compare Seiko and Citizen because they're kind of right there. You know what I mean? So they kind of compete with one another as far as the watches that I'm looking at, and I think most of you guys are too. And at one point, hopefully, I can either get some owners of those Citizen watches to lend them into the channel so I can show them, or I will get a little more serious about picking a couple up and sharing them with you, because the ones that I'm looking at are actually really pretty cool. So maybe I can find some pictures or something like that, and we'll cover it. But you can see here, like I have the NY0080 full loom dial. This thing is actually pretty rare now, and it just came out recently. That's a super cool watch, much smaller, much easier to wear for guys, you know, with a sub 7-inch wrist. And of course you have the monster EcoZilla here, super legible, insanely serious diver here. So you can see that they run a spectrum of really cool and different, unique watches, and I really dig that about Citizen. So it's very, if you guys are looking to go down another rabbit hole, I dare you to look at some of the really cool Citizen divers. So let me close it out with a loom shot, guys. Assuming that full loom dial is going to try to show off a little bit, but you can see the loom on this signature diver here is very, very well done. It is very potent and it works perfect. So you can see it here next to the EcoZilla, which is, you know, arguably like kind of like Citizen's Monster, you know, where it's just overpowered with loom. And then of course you have the ridiculous bright full loom dial on the new NY0080. This thing is super cool, very well done. So all right guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you very soon.